Hi, this is from Right at Home, and this is Let's Talk Real Estate, but although today we're deviating a little bit, podcast. So I do a lot of podcasts related to real estate. I've actually been working on a blog this morning. Sorry, my chair's a little squeaky. But I know that with the holiday season coming, a lot of my clients get extremely busy. Having just released 2 new listings today, the market really doesn't stop. But I, like many, have the same challenge of trying to schedule my work, my kids, and then, of course, all the activities that happen through the holiday season. So this podcast I thought I would actually do. I've just picked up a drink from Starbucks, which is just so holiday related because of all the stuff on the cup that it got me thinking that maybe, it was time maybe just to do a podcast that really was, helping a lot of the advice that I give clients, but helping just really related to the holidays over the next couple of weeks as we sort of head down the home stretch of this season. So one of the things that often, and I'm struggling with this myself because even on the weekend I started to try to organize gifts because I have like family, my kids, friends, and also clients, trying to organize sort of the gifts and wrapping and all that kind of stuff. So I know how life can get pretty crazy. So, a lot of times people ask me about organizing through the holidays and really how to, manage it and solve it. So I thought I'd do this podcast. Okay, so one of the things that I'm finding over the last couple of days that I was having a challenge was, keeping track of what I had bought, the wrapping, where I'm going to put stuff and all that kind of stuff. So it was actually a perfect fit considering what I'm going through myself. So the first thing is the gift list. I went shopping about 2 weeks ago in the States, plus I've been doing it, off and on throughout the year as well. I'm always stocking up, particularly because of, client gifts. And I'm really looking at, keeping track of the list for people because you can overbuy. There's no doubt about that. So really you need to have a master gift list and get that together as soon as possible. I do try to buy throughout the year. I put it on both a paper and also on my phone. I do a lot electronically and on the road, which is really important. And then really I separate the gift recipients into groups, based on, as for me in particular, it's clients, then I've got kids and family and all that. But also whether or not things have to be shipped. I'm just starting to get Christmas cards together as well. So really organizing things are really, really important. I'd like to say I do sort of homemade gifts, but to be honest, over the last year or two, I have stopped myself doing that because I simply don't have enough time. But I'm just thrilled when I get homemade gifts. My son is an artist, and I'm always loving getting art gifts as well. It doesn't have to be a store-bought gift because let's face it, many of us would just buy, our own stuff as well. So, so that's the first thing. So I'm going to go, so this is sort of a picture of somebody, organizing their list. Really, take notes for sure. The next thing would be really to organize the wrapping. Now, this I really struggled with yesterday. I got to be honest, I have had wrapping and ribbons and bags and whatever all over my dining room for the last week or more. So organizing yourself is really important. So in the past, what I've done is something as simple as even a huge dollar store bag, putting all the extra wrapping that I have along with tags and scotch tape and small scissors and all that, just so that it really is almost like a gift wrapping bag. I don't have the luxury in the smaller house because we've downsized into a Bronte house to have a separate room or whatever that I could have something like what's shown in this picture. But if you do, that's great. You can do it in a variety of ways, sometimes just even putting it in a basket or an umbrella stand. I have done that as well, to be honest. Spools of ribbon. I have a basket of ribbon, but they do get a bit messy. If you have those stand-up paper towel holders, that's a great way of storing ribbons. And also when you pull on them, they're not flopping all over the place. So that's really a great idea. I'm getting more neutral with the kind of wrapping that I'm buying as well. Over the years, I used to have it, the paper was so busy, but many times people are doing a solid white paper, red paper, gold, or even the brown paper, the brown wrapping where you put ribbons around it, because a lot of times you can make it really pretty by the things that you decorate the paper with. So that's a good thing as well. And as I mentioned, I just throw all the tape and tags and all that kind of stuff into the same bag. It really, really does help as well. Okay, so then once you actually have got the things wrapped, like this picture here, which is really cute. I mean, see, they've got some really cute little ideas on the front. Doesn't take a lot. Where do you hide it? Okay, so recently I have really pretty well almost grown-up kids. My son is now away and he works. He's actually going to be a father himself soon. My daughter is finishing high school. She's still nosy. I have discovered she was in a bag of stuff recently. But my kids actually confessed recently that when they were kids, they actually knew everything they were getting, which was a shock to me. They had gone and snooped and unwrapped and, oh my goodness, done stuff I had absolutely no idea they had done. So this one I thought was actually really pertinent because I had no idea. So really think about where you're hiding stuff. First of all, wrap it. Although my wrapping it ahead of time didn't really solve, from what they're telling me, the problem of them finding things out. I don't know how they ever were able to rewrap it. Anyways, I guess that's the thing about bags, right? But where can you put it? So there's a variety of places you can actually hide stuff, like in garages, storage sheds, big garbage bags. Another thing I thought was interesting, somebody was telling me to hide it in a big suitcase or a laundry basket. My kids would have never thought of a suitcase. I thought that was a genius idea. So, you got to think of all these different things. And there are sometimes, like this picture, there are bigger gifts that you just can't wrap and put under a tree or whatever. So again, I've got one gift like that right now that I'm trying to figure out where to do it. So again, keep it out of reach of kids. Within a year or two, where I leave stuff is going to actually change again, because I have to be careful because I'm going to be a grandmother. So as soon as a child starts being able to crawl and put things in their mouth and all that, you got to be careful not just leaving stuff around. So I've gotten a little bit sloppy about leaving things around because my kids are older now. So there's I actually put stuff in trunks of cars. I mean, you hide them wherever you can. What can I say? Okay, so you got to figure it out. You got to be ingenious as a parent, but quite frankly, your kids are pretty creative as well in trying to find out what you bought. Okay, so it also is the time for guests. So I'm actually having a pre-Christmas dinner because part of my relatives are all over the place. So this Sunday, and I have some people coming, and there's going to be areas where we're going to have to put extra coats and boots and all that kind of stuff. Sometimes people do it in the front halls. I don't have that luxury of having a small or raunchy house. The entranceway is smaller. So sometimes you can put it into, obviously on a bed or whatever. But if you're having a party or a lot of guests, you may want to think of renting even or buying one of those sort of garment racks, especially if you're doing a party. But even a laundry room, just trying to get things sort of out of the way sometimes helps as well. Okay, so then the next thing, of course, is holiday baking. So, I confess over the years I've done less of it as I've gotten really busy, but my kids really do. My son loves my sugar cookies. My daughter loves the gingerbread. So they've all got their own thing. So again, like all of us, you have to organize, get all the materials. I have to often go in and make sure that I haven't got expired stuff. That's a key. My daughter in particular is big on noting if something has expired on me. So really, and in this picture they have things in plastic and labeled and all that kind of stuff, and that actually does help. One year in one of my very large houses, it was a brand new build, the builder had not secured I think it was the central vac pipe, and I ended up getting a mouse in my house, which was very upsetting, and they got into my pantry, which I had a separate room at the time because it was a very large house. So I ended up going to the dollar store and buying sort of containers like this that I had for years. Everything was put into containers and labeled and whatever. Over the years, as my kitchens have gotten smaller, I don't necessarily have quite that much. But yeah, you want to really be organized with your baking as well. It really does, help. What can I say? So between the baking and also this photo project idea, which I think is great. So this is an area that you actually could do it yourself. Where you're not, expending the big scrapbooking. Seems to be a little bit less popular these days. There's a lot of stuff digitally now too that you can do. It's not as big a deal, but it does have that personalized touch, which I think is really important as well. So it is a time that we can actually get very, very creative. Now, the next thing and the final thing is really keeping track of your schedule. I don't know about you, but I have been just slammed over the last few weeks between working, because my business is really so time sensitive, to the extra holiday parties and things. I had a board luncheon, I had a brokerage lunch, I have actually a high tea tomorrow with our newest member of our team, which is our lawyer. I'm just thrilled with her. So it does add a lot of stuff besides just your general. I have a breakfast coming up, besides your regular schedule. So really keeping track of your schedule is really, really important. December is an extremely challenging month for a lot of people just because of the extra things on top of their normal schedule. I do as well sometimes do the dinners and the extra small things. If I can actually postpone them till January or February, I will, because then often people aren't quite as harried with their schedule, to be honest. So, definitely take care of your schedule. Make sure that you take lots of vitamins and all that good stuff. So, one of the questions, wrapping this up, tying it back to real estate, a lot of people say to me, do people buy and sell throughout December because of all the activities which we've gone over in this presentation? Yes, they do. I've actually finalized deals on Christmas Eve even. And I actually was in Mexico at the time, so I had arrived, and this fellow was taking off on a highway to go visit his family for, Christmas Day. So as a realtor, things, yeah, absolutely. And this year, I think as well, it's going to happen because a lot of people are trying to get pre-approved. Doesn't mean they have to close, but they're definitely going to want to be pre-approved because of potentially changes with mortgages if it affects them in a negative way. So I think that we're going to find December, there has been quite a bit of an uptick. In general, in comparison to a couple of the months previous, we're seeing more activity. So I hope that this has helped, just giving you some general ideas of things to think about, so that really this month is a lot more enjoyable. So take care and enjoy the day, and join me for my next podcast.